evening, everyone. Bing bong, welcome back to the channel. I need to really start rehearsing on how to start these things, but good evening, everyone. Welcome to another night at Bimji Streams, the channel that is forever WIP. Tonight here with me is Mr. Tanuki. Woohoo! Say hi to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
It probably has. Last time was the 3-4 hour stream of us opening packs, if I remember correctly.
Was that the last one?
I think so.
Yeah. You're right. It was the 4-hour stream where we were opening packs on the JP packs.
Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Because I think the one before that, we did Magic the Gathering one on like drafting and stuff, and we've never since done it because like it just made very little sense after a while.
Yeah.
I think we mutually agreed that it got a little weird doing that.
Yeah, that's fine. You try things out and let's see how it goes, right?
Yeah. Anyways, so if you are watching this, you're probably into Magic the Gathering. Mr. Tanuki and I are into Magic the Gathering, in case it isn't self-evident yet. And one of the things that have sort of been on our mind a lot, or at least, actually, to be fair, I think it's both of us, right? Like, it's just how expensive this hobby has become.
Yeah, pretty much. I think when I first started, you can probably, like when I first started really playing, like, quote unquote, like competitive level. Okay, that makes me sound like I actually play competitively. But like seriously,
right.
Play the game. A standard deck would be about maybe $100-$200 is what we're looking at.
$Dollars we're talking about here, right?
Yeah. Modern used to be like $300-$400. During that time, this was like original Zendikar kind of time. And now probably a standard deck is at least $500, $600.
I mean, yeah. Like I think it's in. I think back when I was playing, and I think that was very much more like many years ago. When did I start playing? Did I start playing in? I started playing in 99, 97. And a 400 ringgit, mind you, I said ringgit, yeah. So that's equivalent to about like what, $150 dollars roughly, $150 dollars roughly, or back in the day, I think it was like, yeah, it's about, maybe about $100 dollars kind of thing. 400 ringgit deck, right, was like pretty meta grade kind of shit.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's all to say, like, really, like, the price of getting into the game nowadays, especially despite the fact that, like, there are more access to singles, we have more access to singles nowadays. The average price of, if you really want to play competitive Magic, is just it really is generational depth level great shit, right?
Yeah, and also the format. As for me, I'm mostly a limited player. But once in a while, I do dabble in standard. And aside from, I think, the cost, the format also, it's quite stale a lot of the time for standard. Especially at the moment where I think the latest sort of tournaments, the meta game is at least 50%, 60% one deck.
What is the standard deck right now?
It's the VV Cauldron combo
bullshit.
deck. Yeah. That is, I believe, like out of the top 8 of like some of the big tournaments recently.
Yeah.
Either all 8 or 7 of the 8 decks in the top 8 is that deck.
Yeah, no, I don't need an explanation. So like I play mostly arena, and I play like on alchemy and stuff like that. And in a very strange way, alchemy has solutions for VV, But even then, I just like nah.
Yeah, I do think that they should have just printed VV in a commander set deck, um, which Final Fantasy does have.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have put it into the standard legal. It's just way too powerful for standard. They're never gonna ban it as well because
Yeah.
but they might ban Cauldron.
Well, okay.
But
Sorry, go ahead. Well, I mean, not to bury the lead on this one, but we are here to sort of like attempt at making something that's a little bit more beginner friendly, casual friendly kind of thing, and really just to address the problem. I think the good thing about between you and I is that we're not just here to just whine and grind about the realities of Magic. Let's try and see whether we can do something about it, right?
yeah, we try to do more than just whinging.
Yes, correct. So once again, not to bury the lead, but let's talk about formats a little bit first before we get too deep into it. Having played Magic for as long as you have, like, if you were to explain to someone what a format is, what a Magic the Gathering format is, how would you explain it?
Assuming the person knows sort of trading card games.
Ew.
I mean, just as an assumption, that a format is basically a set of sets, I guess, like a number of sets, and that comes up. Okay, let me rephrase that. It's basically, if you think about it, it's a way to play that limits the amount of cards of the card pool that you have in the deck.
Right.
Now, there's a lot of different ways that you can limit that card pool. The most common is by sets. So the standard format, for example, have the most recent 12 sets, if I remember correctly. For example, then that becomes your card pool to create your deck. Another sort of format might be vintage, where you have the entirety of the Magic the Gathering, well, nearly everything in the Magic the Gathering sort of history, and the format is there to just make sure everyone can are playing sort of things with more controlled power levels, shall we say.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the way that I would put it.
Okay. Sorry, I got a little distracted for a second, mostly because my YouTube preview was stuck on the loading screen. I was like, holy shit, did I do something wrong? And like, am I still? Anyways. Okay, so yeah, that's definitely restricting the description of formats or explanation of formats to only card sets, I think would be the safe way of doing it, because I think in the very beginning of Magic, that was what formatting was supposed to do, right? It was always intended to do a few things. One of it is to impose rotation, so the game doesn't become stale, you know. When formats go out and new cards come in, you change the game effectively, right? The meta game, what is available, effectively changes. And regardless of how many formats there are floating around, as long as that cycle happens, you shift between it. And in understanding the format that you play automatically allows you to think about cards within a very specific context, right? Like, oh, I can play with 12 expansions that you were saying, right? Like with standards, 12 expansions. So these are the 12 expansions that I do, think about and all that kind of stuff. If you go into a more older sets or vintage and all that stuff, right? Then you're looking at sets that go like 30 years of Magic kind of thing, and you then suddenly have to find yourself thinking about cards that you never knew would exist and all that kind of stuff, right? So,
yeah, and format, I think Magic, one of Magic's success, I believe, comes because of the way that they develop their formats, or the way that the formats are. Because I think that it stops what I would call the Yu-Gi-Oh problem, where every set really build on top of each other, and you end up, because everything is legal, you have to ban a lot of cards at the end of the day to balance things out. While if you have different formats, you can have, if you want to play that, you can, but you can also play a much more sort of contained game. And like you said, like it cycles the game quite well for new players and things like that. It gives it also sort of level the playing field a little bit better for different formats.
Technically correct. Sorry, I've been fidgeting in my visual a little bit, partially because it's like it's doing some stuff that's very distracting to me. Anyway, funny you should mention Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh has a very the problem that you're describing is actually an old Yu-Gi-Oh problem. It's not so much a new Yu-Gi-Oh problem anymore. Because in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, right, Yu-Gi-Oh has sort of, you can argue with me whether this is an evolution or de-evolution of the game. But like has sort of changed into this game that is so combo centric. That decks become very focused to the point that it barely does anything else. Like you basically, between your deck staples and your combo pieces, right? Your deck's basically it. That you're done. That kind of thing. So you don't experience the same. The only thing that expansion cycling does for Yu-Gi-Oh is effectively saying, this deck completely becomes non-meta viable or non-tournament viable anymore. That's just all it does. You're basically banning decks rather than banning cards. You're not banning cards to balance the game. You're effectively just saying, this play style is no longer, or this set is no longer viable. That's what set rotation does to Yu-Gi-Oh.
I actually think, one last comment before sort of like, because we can go on about this for a while. Flesh and Blood has an interesting way of dealing with some of these.
Oh, okay.
Because the way that they have it is that they have, so Flesh and Blood have heroes that you play, right? And so if the hero becomes really popular and performs really well in official tournaments, they actually go into quote-unquote retirement.
Oh, basically saying that you can't play it for the next tournament or something like that.
Something along that line. I'm not fully in the Flesh and Blood scene, but like hearing my friends who play sort of competitively, they mentioned this, and I thought that was quite an interesting way to do it. It forces the evolution of metagame quite well. But of course the price of that means that you can't just have one deck.
Yeah, definitely. Funny you should say so. So one of the curious things that Avirium, when I was designing it with my team and all that, and I know this is a bit of a plug, though, like, God knows where you'll be able to get a product now. But yeah, so one of the curious things that we were doing, because the game had all these heroes that you'd be able to play, right? When we were running tournaments, one of the things that we did very, very early, and even during the design phase we were set on doing, right, was always two things. One of it is because the game has a shared deck. So what we would always do is we would say, hey, this shared deck that we do, we would very specifically alter the composition so that when you come in and you join the tournament and all that, the shared deck will have its own unique quirks that's going to be different from when you're playing at home. That's one thing. And then the other thing is that we would actively tell you, when you're going to be playing, you're going to be drafting your heroes, and these are the heroes that you can draft from. So you're not allowed to so we impose the rotation ourselves, and stuff like that. And because it's drafted also as well, so you don't get players can actively I want to ban first, or I want to play with this one more. So ways to sort of counterplay, so to speak, is a little bit more ingrained into the system. But interesting. But anyways, coming back to Magic, one thing though I want to talk about a little bit before we move on the idea of formats, is that one thing that your format explanation does not cover is the unique rules behind formats. Because each format also has additional rules. So the two big formats that most of us know about is that most of us normal players in Magic will always engage in is between limited and constructed, right? And even between these two formats, there's already rules to deck building that's different. Very notably, limited does not limit the number of cards, a specific copy of cards inside your deck. If you have 5 copies inside your limited pool for some reason, sure, go ahead. If you got 16 copies for some reason, sure, by all means, go ahead. I don't know how you're gonna get 16 copies of a card, but if that happens, all the power to you, right? Contrast that against constructed, where you're limited to only 4. That's the very basic one that you're always going to meet. And then on top of that, we talked about EDH in brief earlier. Commander, basically it's the same format. They have different rules for like how they handle life, how they handle attacks, how they handle zones on top of everything. So all of that comes into play. So when we talk about formats, it's to put it in a very broad way, is like to look at Magic as a pool of cards with several different ways to play. There's a very specific like baseline engine and baseline rules that everyone adheres to. But like, oh, hey, when individual players get together and say, hey, I want to play with a specific range of cards, or I want to play with this specific exception, like what they call like rule 0 or house rules and stuff like that, right? That's where formats technically come in.
Yep. No, I think that makes sense. In a way, it's a game within the game.
Exactly. And so that's exactly what we're going to start off with today. That is the point of today's stream, and we're going to be trying to make a format of our own that's a little bit more budget friendly and hopefully makes it a little bit more casual friendly as well.
That's right. So caveating that likely this won't be an original concept, so to speak. But I think that the details of it might be different from what has been sort of put forward.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like this idea has been explored before. I'm pretty sure someone out there has given this a try and basically said this is not viable on like the mass like for the masses. This is just a very silly way of approaching it. It's not viable. Let's see what we can like I'm quite sure they'll just end up like and it's just sidewind it and be done with it. It's worth noting also as well, me and Mr. Tanuki here, we're not guys that are super duper into every fringe way of playing Magic, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep. So like I of all people, like I was introduced to Cube when it became a thing. When it was first starting to become a thing, I had a friend who was like, "Oh yeah, hey, we found this new way to playing Magic. It's called Cube, and we were like playing around with it." And there's like people who were trying to figure out different ways to draft, like Winchester drafting versus like and all the other styles of drafting. Very, very likely someone out there in the internet will probably have tried this on their own. What we want to do is that we wanted to do this with everyone, like here, and very specifically, we want to walk people through it, and hopefully, for those who are new and looking for new ways to play Magic, you can adopt this way to sort of make it a little bit more easier for yourself as well. Figure out, and then use our learnings and figure out a way on your own, right?
Yep.
So let's get right into it. I think we should start from basically talking about what our goals are.
Yeah. That's fair.
So the goal of the format, I sort of prefaced this in my post about this stream. The goal of the format is to not break the bank, is to make a deck that wouldn't break the bank, right? And we're looking at physical products here. We're going to be looking at pen and paper Magic. We're not looking at arena and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And maybe some of you who are watching would sort of go like, oh, but isn't there Pauper, or isn't there sort of those type of things. The thing about Pauper, the thing about formats in general is that they're cheap until they become popular.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once they start becoming popular, suddenly like the prices goes up.
Right.
I remember the days where EDH was super cheap.
Yeah.
Because nobody wanted the cards. But yeah, so even Pauper, which is a format where everything that you have in the deck should be a common.
Is it common
is jacking
only?
up. It's common, and some have uncommons, but mostly commons. They're jacking up the price of old like common cards. That's and then so based on that, it stops being a accessible format. Also, because a lot of the common cards that you would want are really old, and that's another barrier to entry to the format.
I think it's worth recognizing also as well, back in the day, and for those who are not familiar with this, rare, what we know today as a rare, is a I want to say modern concept, but I realized that my definition of modern concept is like from 20 years ago.
Hey, I was here before mythic rarity, yeah?
Right, exactly. It's like, what is this new confounded red symbol next to my...
Yeah.
Oh god.
Back in my days, it's gold.
So it's like, dude, back in my day, there wasn't even gold. There was like not even a color.
Yeah, it's just black and white.
So for those who don't know, I started in Uza's Legacy, and that was like that was the set that started with the rarity symbols, with like explicitly marked rarity symbols. So yeah, before that was Tempest. The cycle before that was Tempest, and like that was just all black. Oh wait, no, sorry, my bad. Exodus was the one with the rarity symbols. Yeah, Exodus was the first one with rarity symbols. Sorry, my bad. But yeah, why I'm bringing this up is because when we're talking about commons and uncommons and all that, right? If you go back before Tempest, especially, any set before that, right, didn't technically have rares. So all of them would have been common and uncommons. Yeah. So yeah, even the Power 9s are technically commons and uncommons.
Yes. Yeah. That becomes a problem.
Yes. So Pauper is very curiously,
yeah.
Not very cheapo friendly anymore, is it?
Yeah, and I guess that's where sort of the idea comes in terms of having a format that's literally based on how much it costs.
Exactly. And that's actually, I mean, I've never mentioned this to anyone, but that's kind of where our headspace is at. So what we want to try and do is we want to do this whole format thing, and we want to run you through the process. We want to, stream the processes for everybody, and we're going to play games based on it and just show you guys the final outcome, right? But since we're exploring the format for the first time, we're going to try and lay out the ground rules. So since we're talking about a format that's supposed to be budget friendly, I think what we want to do is we want to set a cap price for the deck. That means the total deck cannot exceed a certain price.
Yep.
Right? So that's number one. We've sort of talked about this off stream before, and the idea for us was that the cap price should not exceed $50. And that's USD. For the sake of our own sanity, we're just going to use USD as a reference point.
That's fair. That's fair. USD makes sense.
Because anything else is going to be insane, right? So we're going to say, like, we're going to use standard constructed rules, which is a 60 card deck, 4 copies of a card, and then a budget cap at 50 USD. Right? So
we can discuss whether we should do 50 or 100. I know we talk about both, but let's just like discuss it.
Okay, so what's your headspace at for this?
So I think just in terms of what we're trying to do, right? We want to make sure that I think number one, it's like, first of all, budget friendly, as you've mentioned. Number two, that the cards are accessible, which is different from the budget part.
Yeah.
And then lastly is we want to have a relatively format where you can have diversity in the decks.
Okay. So,
and to me, that's the last part is where it gets it's a question of like the more money you get to play around with, there's like a sweet spot somewhere where you maximize the diversity, in a sense.
Understood. I get you because like but I do subscribe to the idea that like that some level of restrictions will eventually ultimately breed creativity. So I don't know, like what do you think that like, I mean obviously more money is better, but like it's one of those kind of things where if we're really arguing over trying to make the game more accessible and all that, is $100 really a good idea to set as a benchmark? Bear in mind, both of us are from like Southeast Asia. Like 100 USD is a lot of money.
Yeah, but we're also living in the weird part of Southeast Asia.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That
Yeah, but putting that aside.
Yeah.
No, agreed. So I do think that $50 is probably where I will end up sort of going as well. But I think within that, we also have to. We can check in later once we try making decks. I think whether or not that it makes sense for. Whether or not that the cap makes sense, or whether or not that we need a bit more.
Right.
Now, what we can do is budget cap of USD $50 for the main deck, and we can have $20 for the sideboard.
Are we playing sideboarding? Are we sideboarding?
if we're playing best of threes, then I would like to have sideboards.
You're not a big fan of best of ones?
No, I hate best of ones. Best of ones are the worst. The only reason why I play best of one in Arena is because that's how I can climb the ladder. Best of threes is the way to play Magic. Come at me.
Okay, I'm gonna put this up on the screen, right?
Yeah.
So best of 3, and then okay. All right, let's do it your way. Let's give it a try. Which is main is USD 50, side is USD
20.
That's why is your sideboard really going to be like half the price of your entire deck?
No, I was thinking about that. Like $10 is fine as well. It's whatever. Like the thing is, I want the option to have sideboards, but I don't want it to eat into the main part of the budget.
Right. Okay, so let's do this. Because sideboards are supposed to be 15 cards, right? Sideboards are 15 cards, right?
So $1 per card.
$1 per card. I think that's a reasonable number. Keep in mind also as well, I think what we want to do is that as a rule, I think we can agree that $50 per card, $50 for your main deck is excludes basically basic lands are free.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So Damien's asking, no shock lands in this deck?
I mean, likely no shock lands in this deck.
What is the going price of a shock land nowadays?
Oh, I guess you can have. I'm guessing. I don't know actually. My guess is each of them can be like 15 per card. So you can have a set of 1, but that leaves you with not a lot.
If it's 15 per card, you can't even do 4. 4 automatically pops you into 60 already.
Yeah. So you can have 1 shock land in the deck.
You can have 1 shock land in the deck if you really want that shock land.
Yeah. But I do think that recently there, with a lot of the multicolored sets,
exactly,
is really good because you have a lot of common and uncommon sort of dual lands and tri lands with upsides. So that's actually pretty good.
Exactly. That's actually one of the reasons why I felt like this approach was actually doable, right? That you have mana solutions, like mana options. That are well within the common uncommon range.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay. So just to recap again, the tournament format is going to use best of 3, where with a deck size of 60 cards, unique copies 4, budget cap of main at USD 50, basic lands are free, and then side of $15. Right.
Yep.
So okay. So what else do we need to cover for this?
So okay, I know this is something that we've agreed previously, but just to say it here, is that the card prices will be based on the basic cards. You can bling the shit up like in whatever way that you want, but from a price perspective, we're just looking at the basic cards.
Right. Okay. So yeah, so that's going to be something that I mean, I'm not going to put it up on the board, but basically saying is that if you choose to go, like if there is various versions of the card floating around, we will go with the cheapest version.
Yes.
Right. We'll just count the cheapest version. And how we're going to determine the price of it, we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah.
But we will always go with the cheapest version that's available, because the understanding is that if we're going to play this as a budget deck, we're going to assume that you're going to look for the cheapest version available. I think that's the fair way of approaching it.
Yes, sir.
So if for some reason you decide to like bling the shit out of everything, right, and like foil up everything, and and still call it a budget deck for some reason.
We know at the very least the basic lands are gonna get like full art treatments.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's also important to recognize that the reason why we want to do this as well is to make sure that if, for example, you're a beginner and all that kind of stuff, you buy a few packs, it's your first time playing into the game and all that stuff, and you get a foil, right? I think the weirdest thing to do is to penalize you for that.
Yep.
Right? Like you're like, oh yeah, hey, I want to play this like bargain bin format that I read online or some shit. Who knows who the heck is going to transcribe this shit? But like, yeah, and it's like, oh shit, I got a foil. Oh my god, it's supposed to be a happy moment in your TCG life. Suddenly it feels like a detriment, because suddenly for some reason it just went, you just bust the bank for some shit because of it.
Yeah,
it's just really dumb.
Anyway, I think the next thing we can probably talk about is the format itself and the card pool.
All right, so let's do that. We going back to the whole point of it being like accessible and all that, right? We definitely want cards that are in print, like you can find copies of it. So
yes.
So I've on the side here, I've actually brought I've actually sort of dug up the total, like all of these sets which are currently in standard, in standard and
soon to be in standard.
And soon to be in standard. And I the reason why I've included Spider-Man is mostly because it's like I don't know when we will be able to finally, do the stream where we actually play live. But like I just want to include it for discussion's sake, kind of thing. But so let's talk about like what we want to include and what we want to like remove, and some of the logics behind it. Okay.
Sure.
So do you have any initial impressions or things you want to bring up, like with regards to this, at least off the top of your head?
Yep. So I think Loot Crip is still $15 at the lowest. I think that because what we're trying to do is bring new players into sort of everything, this should be an offshoot of standard, because standard is outside of Commander.
Yeah.
Is the most played sort of constructed format. And it's also the most accessible. So from that perspective, putting all of the sets that is going to be in place, sort of that is in standard, is sort of where I would start the conversation.
Right. So and that's basically what's on screen right now. But I feel that there are caveats to this that I like to impose. Mostly because I think if you're new to the game, to get any reasonable amount of cards, even if we're talking about like bargain bin cards and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Like I think you don't want a situation where you have to look through essentially like 30,000 different cards just to find a deck that's viable, I think we should still limit the range of cards to a few expansions rather than the full list of standard. And keep in mind also, because we need to start like sort of conceiving our decks before the play, and because we're going to be anchoring it based on price, then like we need to be able to lock down the price at a certain time. And I think waiting for Spider-Man to show up before we start this deck building / discussion gets a little silly.
I'm also not going to make anything that will in any way affect the Spider-Man sales positively. I want that set to fail because there are card shops that is selling the collector boosters for $900, $800, whatever it's ridiculous amount that it was.
Have you seen the price set for Final Fantasy right now?
Well, yeah, but like Final Fantasy, I can sort of like that was the turning point, right?
Yeah.
But like Spider-Man also then going that not like.
By the way,
Yeah,
for
no.
those who are watching, like if you ever wanted to like if you ever question whether this is actually a sponsored like stream or anything, like it's clearly not.
Although Wizard of the Coast, if you're listening,
Yeah, if you're willing to sponsor like us with like
I
collector
will
boosters,
shill for you 100%.
yeah, we will change our tones 100%. So if the day happens, so you know, like they have memes around going like, I will never tell you if I ever win the lottery, but there would be signs.
Yeah, yes,
So if
absolutely.
this channel ever gets, if either of us ever becomes sponsored by Magic the Gathering Wizards of the Coast, like we won't say it out loud, but there will be signs.
Yes. Okay, so in terms of the expansions, then
So I think we can agree that Spider-Man's out.
yeah, fuck that shit.
Okay.
I think what is definitely in is Final Fantasy.
Okay, so we'll definitely include Final Fantasy.
The reason for that, for me, and why it's strong, I think first and foremost, we opened way too much of these cards.
Yeah, that's fair.
I want to use them. But also, a lot of people got into Magic because of the set.
Right.
So I think it makes sense for us to actually just include it.
Absolutely. I think as also a general rule for any beginners, I think it's a good idea to include Foundations. Foundations is going to be tournament legal for quite some time. I think it's slated to last all the way until 2029, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. Or at least 2027. I'm really not 100% certain. I need to double check. But yeah, because it's so long, and if we're going to be really budget friendly and we're going to be newbie friendly and all that kind of stuff, I would strongly recommend anyone who come into the game to have like sort of get their value for their dollar lah. You know, you spend $1 here, at least you'll be able to play it for the next 5 or 6 years. Then buy Foundations. You know? Yeah, so I think that much is probably a good idea. For that reason, and that reason in particular, I feel like I want to take out Wilds of Eldraine and Ixalan.
Too old or what?
Yeah, a bit. And I okay, now this is going to be very this is highly debatable, but I do feel like when you include too many expansions, it becomes like it stops being newbie friendly. There's just too much stuff going on.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with that. I think one of the key things is we need to have at least one multicolored sets in the expansion.
Right. So
we can talk about which one later.
But let's remove Ixalan and Eldraine for now.
Yes. I would also like to remove, and we can discuss this one.
Right.
I'm not 100% on this. Is remove Edge of Eternities.
Really? Why?
I think that there are cards in it. Well, number one, a part of me don't want to deal for new players. I think Edge of Eternities is actually relatively complex.
Okay.
Now, whether or not that's sort of something to penalize it for is a different thing. It also have relatively cheap, definitely able to within the $50 is infinite combo as well, which may be interesting for a deck to be built around it. Or if it's too good, then that's also an issue. But we can we can. I'm also open to keeping it, but that's just it's a discussion kind of thing.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm pretty in favor of it.
Okay.
Of it being around. Because for a few reasons. One of it is that it's the latest set, so so like for the same reasons I want to remove Eldraine and Excellent. I would imagine Age of Eternities being included. So that's one. Another reason is that now I'm going to go ahead and flag out that I am a little biased because I do like Age of Eternities. But I think that for me at least, I feel like the complexity that you're talking about are based on decision complexities and not necessarily like set complexity, if you understand what I'm talking about. Yeah, so basically the to understand what the individual cards do, they are reasonably like easy to manage. But to say, oh, I should do this versus the other, that's a decision complexity, like sort of a tactical complexity. And I felt like that's not something that the set should be penalized for. And if anything, that if you're a strategic player, that should excite you more.
True.
You know, so for that reason,
so we can. Yeah, I think that's fine. We can keep that. Now the rest, I'm actually pretty ambivalent on.
Okay.
From a limited perspective, because most of the time I interact with these sets on a limited format. So that would be drafting and sealed. From that perspective, like I have very fond memories of Bloomburrow.
Right.
But like whether or not we include it in the set, I think that's a thing. We can keep it in a block, sort of like for. So back in the days, like one world, one block is 3 sets.
Right.
Right. You have the main set. And then you have the 2 expansions.
Correct.
That was a block. So 3 sets is what we're looking at. Now the question is right now, do you think just 3 sets is too limiting? I think it's good for us to decide almost like how many sets we want to have in first, and then see which one we want to keep.
Sorry, nodding.
Okay.
Thinking. I see where you're getting at, and I think at the very least we should probably include Dragonstorm. For a couple of reasons. One of it was like how you mentioned, like we should at least have a multicolored set, and I think Dragonstorm has a lot of color solutions anyway, so that's a good idea. So I think that's a very like a kind of a minimum that we should be having.
Sure, it's also a cheap format.
Yeah. On top of that. So then comes the question of like Murders, Thunder Junction, Bloomburrow, and then Duskmourn in Aether Drift, right?
I have very little feelings with any of them, I'll be honest.
Sorry, what?
I have very little feelings about any of them, to be honest. I think we should keep it to like what is most recent. So I would keep like if we're doing 6 sets, then we should keep sort of like the 6 most recent sets.
Sounds good. Let's keep it to 6 for now, and let's see how that goes. I honestly, when I first did this layout, right, I was half thinking whether we would just limit it to the most recent 3. But yeah, no, 6 sounds like a nicer exploratory like list, like there's more to play around with. And it opens this up to a few more extra options without overextending us.
Yeah, so that would be Edge of Eternities, Final Fantasy, Dragonstorm, Aether Drift, Foundations, and Duskmourn.
Correct. All the way until Bloomburrow, basically. So 6 plus 1, essentially.
Oh, you can include Foundation as a plus 1?
Yes, correct.
Sure.
Right. So yeah.
Okay.
So we'll base on this. So we have 6 expansions 6 plus 1 expansions to look at, and these were the card lists that we will be using.
Yep. Fair enough.
Okay.
And I think just as to remove any doubt, the ones so recently Wizards usually also do a lot of like Final Fantasy Commander set and all that kind of stuff. We're not touching that. Where we'll only be touching the standard legal cards from these sets.
Correct. So I think to be more precise, we're only specifically looking at play boosters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything that comes in play boosters.
Yeah. So I do apologize, by the way. The excellent one says draft boosters here. That was a mistake on my side. I think Eldrin's didn't have the separation between like draft and play boosters. I'm not sure, but like it says.
I don't remember.
But yeah. So yeah. Either way, they're out of the current described format. So we're just going to stick with this for now.
Yeah.
So yeah. So Bloomburrow, Duskborn, Aether Drift, Takir, Dragonstorm, Final Fantasy, Age of Eternities, play boosters only. Cards within that list, and foundations, of course.
Sounds good to me. Ban list.
Are we banning anything?
I think anything that is banned in standard should be banned in the set.
Is there anything that is banned in standard that does not have a stupid price?
Oh, that is a fair point.
Like
their prices should have come down because of the bannings. However, the prices are upkept because of EDH, I guess. Okay. I guess we can have no bans for now, and then see how that goes.
Let's assume that our price thing becomes a capper,
a natural ban list.
A natural ban list. Because keep in mind, like the only way you're going to be able to make up for like budget deficiencies, like if you over budget on some cards, the only way you can make up for the difference is if you put lands.
Yeah.
So there's no way you can go like, oh yeah, I'm going to put a $40 card in my deck and like, oh sure, go ahead, and like, you know, what you gonna do? Play 59 lands?
Yeah, this is just to note that if we cannot make a functioning standard deck, well, standard quote unquote standard deck with $50, then something is really wrong with the set.
I don't even think that's like that. Like there are cards that are like a penny, like less than $1, right? And keep in mind, like because there are cards that are less than $1, the average, the average, like 40, we usually talk about like your deck being made out of 24 lands, and then basically essentially is 36 other cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you do 50 divided by 36, your average value of a card, right, is about $1.20, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something right? Like, so basically, give me a second. Yeah, so it's 50 divided by 36. Yeah, so sorry, it's $1.40 roughly, right?
Yeah, and I think most of the cards, most like commons and stuff, is like 10-20 cents anyway.
Correct, exactly. So you're not going to do anything. So yeah, so let's so I think it should be very viable to make a deck at least at some level.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you still have like some budget to play around with, and like in fact, when we were first talking about this format, I think I opened with like 30.
Yeah, and I was like, no. I was like, no.
Let's make it $30. I feel like we can do something with $30. A really budget-friendly one.
Yeah, I mean, we can start at 50 and see how things goes, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we have that. All right, so let's talk about now. The very important thing is how are we going to what's the word I'm looking for? Regulate this $50 thing.
Yeah.
Because in the chat, Damien brought up price fluctuations due to recent releases, and it's something that me and Mr. Tanuki we've talked about before, and we're definitely we have a solution, but it's not like, I think the solution we have is exactly the reason why this is not something that most people do.
Yeah, we have a potential of a solution.
Yes, we have the potential of a solution. which is hilarious on its own, right?
Yeah.
So basically, the working plan we have is to what is it? Basically, take is to basically download a card's price list, like take a snapshot of the price list of cards at a specific point of time, and then basically use that as our benchmark to decide on like the price of your deck. So
Yes.
basically saying that we will freeze frame the price at this point, and then say, okay, like whatever happens after this, whatever format that happens, whatever shit breaks, right? Like we will still be basing off this format, this list.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think that the price fluctuates a bit too much for certain cards due to, again, Commander is the main issue with this, because most of the time for like standard legal stuff, they usually find out the powerhouses very, very early on. But for Commander, random cards can go high very quickly. So we want to make sure that we control for that. And as Bimji mentioned, the way to do that is really to take a snapshot of the prices at a certain arbitrary date.
Yeah. So
which will be today?
Yeah.
Question mark.
So with that in mind, so we found this site called MtG.json.com, and they have a bunch of basically what they do is they scrub MTG sites for MTG related info. Of all the data that they scrubbed, it includes actually price lists. So we did a scrub earlier. And then basically you can just download their data files and all that kind of stuff in CSV forms and all that kind of thing. And we did a quick one earlier. I'm not going to show it on screen because that requires me to do a bunch of swapping. But in effect, we currently have a price list that was taken a snapshot of on the 27th of August.
Yep.
They have a bunch of price providers here. Let me just check what are the sites that they're pulling from. Give me a short while.
Yeah. So while Bimji does that, so interestingly, they have different also, like I said, different sources for prices. It's not that many by the looks of it.
Yep.
But I think the important distinction here is they have card prices based on MTG Online, which is card hoarder. And then they have sort of the rest, which is paper.
Yeah, and we'll be only referencing paper.
Yes, so that would be the list here: Card Kingdom, TCG Player, Card Sphere, and Card Market.
Yeah.
And out of those, I think the most commonly used for pricing is Card Kingdom and TCG Player.
Okay.
So we can select one of those as our sources.
Okay. Let's go TCG Player because I like the sound of it a little bit more.
Sure.
Completely arbitrary, by the way. If anyone disagrees with me, please feel free to leave me in the comments on why you prefer one over the other. Because I do not do enough research on this thing. I would love to learn more about which you think is a little bit better.
I do believe TCG Player is also the one that you use for Singapore prices in any sort of
oh, is it?
Trades in Singapore. It is one of those two, but I don't forget which one.
All right.
And it's not, yeah. The only other sort of card price website that people use is Star City Games, but Star City Games tends to be quite quite high in price. Yeah.
Okay. So
now, to caveat, neither of us are data analysts. So we're
Speak for
gonna
yourself.
dodge this shit. And anyone who is watching who knows anything about data will need to suffer painfully as we go through and botch our way through this shit.
Yeah, there's a few things we're definitely probably going to do, and that's like one of the few things we're definitely going to do is that we're probably going to um, find ways to make our life a little bit easier. Like say, set up a VLOOKUP for the card price list, because otherwise making a dex is going to be a pain in the caboose, right? So we probably need to
I would almost say that what will need to happen is that two ways to really do this. The first one is we tried to find a open source sort of card deck builder which we can feed in the sort of the data coming in from the data that is from the JSON files. The other way to do it is you just use whatever is available in terms of the deck builders online. Make your deck based on the prices there, and then double check with the prices in the with the VLOOKUP or whatever it is, whether or not sort of then that sort of tabulates correctly.
Right. So basically, use the available on site first, and then use that as a benchmark, and then just cross compare to make sure that you're not over budget.
Yeah, that's right. Because I think otherwise it's a bit too annoying to actually like VLOOKUP every single card that you're going to be putting inside your deck.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway.
So
yeah. I might try to make a project out of it just to like exercise my Excel skills, which are pretty rusty at this point. But if I do, I'll be sure to share the what you call it, the tool, and then we like anyone else who's going to be able wants to make use of it, then you can go ahead and make use of it. It's probably just going to be completely Excel based, so you can easily manipulate it in ways that you do at least be a little bit more handy. I'm not going to do some crazy compression thing that requires you to have some specialized tools to be able to uncompress it or some stuff.
Yeah. And we'll see sort of where this goes as well. Because I think that the base, if this works out well and it is a fun format, then we can sort of get more and more people into it. So we'll need to update the prices and all that kind of stuff as well. So we want to make that as simple as possible.
Yeah. So let's get into that note a little bit. We've really roped in a friend to come in and play with us a little bit later as well. We're going to try and see whether we can get more other people to come and play it together, so we can have some variety and diversity of plays. But I think what I want to share for us is what's the next steps for us. So I'm definitely going to be streaming the deck building process for me. I'll try and figure out how I'm going to do it, but if it involves making a tool, I'll probably make the tool on live as well. But yeah, I'll probably be doing the deck building live, and then when are we going to deck building live, and then what happens is that we're still talking about doing pen and paper on this. So what that means is that we still need to maybe talk about when we're actually going to play, because we'll need some time to actually get the cards.
Yes. So the way that I would see it is that we just set a arbitrary deadline, probably 2 or 3 weeks from now.
Sure.
And have that at the very least for the both of us. We can sort of do that, and then for sort of our other friends, we can push them along that process.
Sure.
They have the cards anyway. I don't think they need to buy more cards. But let's not go there.
Let's I want to push us a little bit further. In a sense that I'm thinking let's try for a maybe 19th September.
Sure.
Okay.
Was that a Friday?
Yes, that is going to be a Friday.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you want to do another day? You prefer Sundays? We can do
Saturday would be better. Saturday or Sunday would be definitely not that Sunday.
What's on that
I
Sunday?
have big work things on 22nd of September, so the 20th is fine.
Okay, so let's do 20th then.
Yep.
So this would be a Saturday.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, go ahead.
Any change to this date, we'll probably re-announce again. But like, there might be a chance that it might happen. That's all.
Yeah, that's fine. We all have lives that will inevitably
still not sponsored.
Push us around. But from Life, I would like to be sponsored by Life. Thank you. Now that you sort of talk about sort of deck building, any decks that you're looking to, is there any card that you are thinking of and stuff that you want to build on?
Oh God, okay. So the thing was that I think I came back to the game around Murders, but I wasn't really paying a lot of attention around Duskmorn to Dragonstorm. Like even Dragonstorm, I wasn't paying that much attention. Even like Duskmorn and Aether Drift, like my impressions are just all over the place.
Yep.
I don't know offhand. I want to say Age of Eternities has kind of like got me in a chokehold kind of thing. Like I think there are a lot of very interesting strategies in Age of Eternities that's just sort of like, yeah, I'm totally game for it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And knowing you probably want to do some sort of combo based stuff. Yeah.
Mine's are just a bunch of weird jank mini combos, man.
Yeah.
I don't think, like, to be fair, a lot of the decks that I've built in the past, like combo centric decks that I've built in the past, have very low win rates, but like, and they're made of really cheap cards for the most part.
Yep.
Yeah, so usually that would be kind of something that I can do. I don't know whether I can do it with this format, and I really don't know how it might turn out, because sorry, I was gonna say, like, it doesn't help that because I play Arena, it's a little funky, like what I can, like what I'm used to in my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's some things that are legal in alchemy that you just don't have access to here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think just to note for everyone watching, we're very different players. So it'll be interesting to see sort of what decks come up. To me, there's also sort of like two different types that I'm considering. One is the combo deck. As I mentioned, Edge of Eternities do have that infinite damage combo.
Which one is it?
So it's with the two. So what you need is a free sack outlet, which is the 2 mana 3/2 black creature that goes sacrifice something, then surveil one.
Yeah.
Then you have 2 of the 5 mana 4/5. When it enters the battlefield, target creature gets, if this dies this turn, return it to the battlefield under control and +2/+0.
Right.
So you have one in play.
Loop the two of them. Yeah.
Correct. You loop the 2 of them.
Right.
And so the only thing left that you need is a way to capitalize on either a creature entering the battlefield or dying,
Right. So
which
blood
there is
artists,
the
blood
correct the
artists,
blood artist effect.
or Sephiroth or anything else like that.
Correct. So
Sephiroth would be
it's
so funny.
Yeah, you can have one Sephiroth, and that's about it.
What's the price? What's the going price of Sephiroth right now?
I don't know. Last time I remember, it's like $30 or something.
Really?
So yeah, that's the
So
might be something interesting to build around because it's
holy shit.
How much is it?
Okay, so MTG Goldfish. Oh, sorry, TCG player has it at $36.99, which is about 37.
There you go. You can have one.
Yeah, it's like congratulations. That's like
Congratulations.
like 80% of your budget is right there.
Yeah.
The silly part is that because I'm just looking through like random cards, right? Like there is one priced in Shopee that's like 65 Sing dollars.
Okay.
But come and think of it, that's pretty much like your 37 USD kind of thing, right?
What, $65?
65 Sing dollars.
37 USD is not $65.
Okay, fine.
$65 is way too much.
Yeah, it is. My bad. It's really bad. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm thinking either sort of something to do with that combo. I might want to do something with the planets depending on how much they cost.
I love that weird planet that comes like no, it's not a planet. Is it a planet or a ship? I can't remember. Oh no, planets are all lands.
Yes, planets are lands.
Yeah, so like I remember there's this ship that basically it's an 8 drop, like this comes into play, destroy target permanent, then like 4 damage to everything else.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I always like having the idea of a Michan deck just because of the name Michan.
Yeah, thank you for picking that up, man.
Yeah.
I love
No, it's also, I mean, all my friends call it Michan because...
Really?
No, because my name.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah, even back in when I did my master's,
Right.
all like the kids from the Japanese families call me Michan.
Fascinating.
So, there's that.
Fascinating. I was so the thing was that I did it on a lark just to amuse myself because reading things in funky manners is just how I get my rocks off.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Whatever floats your boat, Matt.
Yeah, exactly, right? But like, yeah, when I first saw it, I was like, the impulse to read it as Meccan is obviously very there, but like at the same time, the Asian in me is just going like, it's Michan, man.
Yeah. But I also like making relatively like consistent and relatively aggressive deck.
Yeah.
Or like the blue-red Final Fantasy deck is actually like almost good enough, I feel.
Oh, I should probably ask then. What's that stupid daggers? Are we allowing the daggers? What's the...
You said no ban list.
Right, exactly. So I just forgot which one, what's the name of the daggers again?
Something cutter, Cory cutter or something like that.
Oh, the price is actually very low now.
Yeah, because it got banned.
Yeah, correct. The Cory cutter is like, I mean, we'll definitely need to double check against the price list, right?
Yeah. But how much is it from your search?
Let me do TCG player. Okay. Oh, that's $650 for one.
Whoa, that's close enough.
Yeah, I would be very cautious about any card that's worth $5.
Yeah, see, but like you can just have 4 of them.
Yeah.
And then just like spells, like cheap spells.
Yeah. I mean, the whole point is to have cheap spells, right?
Yeah.
But that is very painfully close to like being non-viable.
Yeah, but it's also very close to just being okay. I might just go make that deck and then try to break the format that way. I'll make a few decks, but like,
what is
that one?
Yeah,
sounds.
what would you imagine as a price point? Like at this point, the card is just not viable. I mean, obviously, $10 is just not viable, right? But what is the line? Do you think?
So it really depends, right? Because there are decks where the way to think about it is there a certain effect that you want for the deck, and then what is not what you cannot get for a budget, right? So an effect like the Quarry Carter is a very sort of specific effect that you don't have any other sort of like any other cards that you can use to mimic that effect. Now, the question is whether or not that the deck can still work when you are basing everything in that 4 rare cards. And then the rest are just very cheap commons and uncommons.
Yeah.
In this case, I actually think you might be able to, simply because you basically all your removal spells, all your draw spells suddenly become creatures.
Right.
And that by itself can be good enough.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess it's the right. I'm going to squint real hard. I mean, I'm not saying it's not viable, but I do think that because the Quarry Cutters ones that I've seen, like why they become really deadly is because half the time they play with they play with a bunch of like supplementary cards as well, not besides the spells. So I feel like some of those cards can be a little bit pricey. Obviously I don't know the prices off the top of my head, and this is ultimately going to be one of the weaknesses of the format. Like just trying to keep a balance between the price as you're building the deck and trying to figure out workarounds is like where a lot of that, like a lot of the crunch is going to happen for us.
Yeah, and as Damien mentions, and I'm guessing you'll be working along build-arounds. Yeah. I think probably the biggest sort of downside of having a budget is that your land base is going to be slower, not more difficult, but slower than a more sort of like non-budget decks.
Yeah, I think, but what's interesting is that, and one of the things that I'm looking forward to be able to do with this format, right, is basically be forced to look for alternative and viable so one of the cards that I think like never gets played, cards that basically just never gets played because there are better alternatives, but like because those better alternatives will always be more expensive. I am hoping to be able to like, through the process of us trying to play this, or even other people trying to explore their own variations of this, that they can stumble into, hey, new cards or new things to play that are maybe not as efficient, but at least within the format, it makes a lot of sense, you know?
Yeah, so, we'll try things out. If there is a need for a ban list, then we'll put in a ban list.
Yeah. So one of the things that I just want to flag out, like I think it's, I don't know how what's the price like right now, but let me just do a quick check. Yeah. Where is it? Yeah, give me a show off. What's the?
I think VV by himself is like above $50.
Yeah, it's like $100. It's like 100 something already. No, I'm looking for the Bard.
Which bard? Yoshi P?
Yeah.
Wandering Bard?
Yeah, Wandering Bard, is it?
Yeah, she shouldn't be that expensive.
Yeah, he isn't. Wandering Minstrel, is it? Is it Wandering Minstrel? Yeah,
Wandering Minstrel Spencer.
Yeah. Wandering Minstrel borderless is like $3, $3.50.
Yep.
And that's like not the cheap, not like the cheapest version of it is like 27 cents. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because, like, hey, if you want to play like dual, like those alternate, like those multicolored lands, a lot of them which comes into play tap, the Wandering Minstrel becomes like, oh, hey, maybe you could play that to sort of supplement the speed that you would lose from playing all these cheap lands, you know?
Yeah. Or maybe just ramp up.
Yeah, or alternate
and things like that.
Yeah, correct. Alternate ways to ramp. Basically, use like the different, the many different options of search your deck for a basic land and put it into play.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, a lander deck might be pretty interesting.
Yeah. Similarly.
A munition deck might be interesting.
God damn it! Do you know that I'm playing that in arena right now?
Yeah, but I mean, it's a fun card.
I wanted to check to see whether like all my cards in that deck are actually like like legal within this format.
Yeah.
Because the funny thing is that the cutoff for alchemy is Bloomburrow.
Yep.
So coincidentally, this really does fall into that space. I didn't want to, by the way, I didn't want to use this as sort of a hard limit either, but like this, and I didn't want to bring it up to our conversation because I know I'm inherently biased because of how I play. So I want to see whether we would accidentally land into that space, and we did. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, Bloomburrow has some interesting card. Duskmourn, less so.
So yeah, Duskmourn.
Ooh. I'm just thinking there are fun cards around Duskmourn. Things like that copy spells and stuff like that.
Yeah, they are. Duskmourn makes rooms for Duskmourn can be very interesting. Aether Drift has a stupid amount of like efficient options, I want to say. It's what I'm going to call it, because they really are like ridiculously efficient. The few cards I have got from Aether Drift, I've been staring, going like, holy shit, why is this? How is this okay? You know, because the whole max speed shit is like kind of dumb.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Tarkir. I don't remember Tarkir Dragonstorm all that much.
Tarkir has pretty slow but powerful cards as well. And
yeah,
Cutter,
I think I played it like once or twice in limited, decided that it was boring and then stopped.
Cutter is from Tarkir, so that's worth noting.
Fair enough.
So yeah, so that's the whole thing. So yeah. Yeah, I feel like a lander deck does make a lot of sense though. It does sound kind of fun. I am playing funny the deck that specifically I'm playing is I can't remember what's the two cards, but like one that turns all your artifacts into food. Yeah, and then another one that basically says whenever you sacrifice artifact, you deal 2 damage.
Yep.
So it's a 3-color deck effectively, and like I just play a lot of that shit.
We'll see.
It is hilarious when it pops off.
I think basically the two viable type of decks are either super aggressive low to the ground or a combo deck of some sort.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that's basically every format.
No. There's some formats where mid-range can work out well, where control can work out well. I don't think that this set control will work in the set all that much.
Really?
It depends, I guess. Like if there's enough combo, control becomes better. And because of the small number of players, any deck really is viable at the end of the day.
That's fair.
We're not playing with enough. We're not gonna play enough games where statistics will pop up its head.
That's true. Like this is very highly exploratory for us. We don't know what it's going to come out of this, but yeah, it's something that hopefully can be a little fun. And what we want to do is hopefully we'll put this idea onto your plate, and maybe you can do something with it as well.
Yeah, maybe Damien, since you said that if it'd probably be tribal, maybe if you want to just develop a deck list. And stuff, why not? Try things out.
Yeah, so a couple of things worth noting as well. Like if you're watching from in Singapore or Malaysia, we're based in Singapore, so we're going to be playing from Singapore. But I travel back from time to time, and Mr. Tanuki is going to be joining me for Comic Fiesta. So, like if you feel like you want to try out this format, feel free to let us know. Leave a comment or something. Let us know, and then what we can do is we can arrange for something. I'm pretty sure we can arrange for something. Just to have some fun. but obviously we're not going to dedicate a lump sort of time kind of thing. So please keep in mind, like, be respectful of our time. We're here to just screw around and see where this goes.
Yep.
Yeah. So, anyways, anything else?
That's probably it.
Yeah. Anything else you want to cover?
No, I think that's pretty good. I think it's all clear. We'll figure out how to work the JSON files and whatnot, and then get back to everyone on that.
I'm now trying to think about if there is anything else that we're missing.
Do you need to put in 1v1 as this?
No, I think that's a given.
Okay.
We don't really need to bring that up.
Yeah.
It's like for the same reasons I don't put in like starting life total.
Yes.
What else is there? Nope, I think we're good. I can't think of anything else we want to go over.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah, so I guess that's it for us tonight. Really short stream, I guess. It's like an hour and a half, more or less what you predicted.
Yep. But anyway, I think it's been a weird day for both of us anyway.
Yeah, it has. And so, like all like the fact of the matter is that we did shoot through this a little bit quickly. It went a lot faster than I honestly went to, and I thought we'd be doing a little bit more digression and shit, but like no, shot right through it.
Yeah, kept it quite
let me see
succinct.
Yeah, let me see if there's anything else that is sort of missing and maybe we should like add it or anything. No, I think we're more or less good. Yeah, so we've covered our lockdown period. Basically, we're locking down the price point from like that document that we just downloaded, which is going to be based off the prices on the 27th of August. We're going to use that as a reference document, so we're going to check that out a little bit later. We've listed out the expansions we're going to be using. We've got our basic breakdowns here. I should probably flag out that 60 cards minimum. You can play 100 if you want to. I know you wouldn't. I might consider it.
Yep. I mean, if there's a mill deck,
Yeah. I'll be honest. That was probably like my low-hanging fruit that I was gonna like try for, because I feel like it's possible. Yeah. But anyway.
So go fog. Let's go.
Let's go figure it out, right? So that's the other thing. Then. What else? And then basically we'll be playing sometime late September is the target right now. So yeah, all things if all things are fine, then that's where we're going to be landing lah.
Yep.
Right.
Sounds good.
And then we might have some streams in between, basically to update everyone as we go along. I'll probably be building my deck on stream as well, so hopefully if anyone has any real thoughts, go ahead, that kind of thing. All right. And I think that's it for us for tonight.
All right.
So thank you everyone for joining us. I know there is a bit of as I said, I know we kind of rushed through this one a little bit. So if you do have any comments that you feel like, hey, you want to chime in on or anything, please feel free to leave it in the comments of this stream below. I think what I'm going to do is I really hope to be able to pick up a little bit more video editing. I'll do some practice based on the previous podcasts that I've done and repost them up and stuff. But like what I hope we can do is I'll do some edits to make this entire experience more digestible for everyone and hopefully be able to show like what the final product looks like at the end of this entire journey.
Sounds good to me.
All right, till then. So I hope you guys are going to stick around for that. Till the next time we meet again. Bing bong, everyone. Good night. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Kudos.
Good night, folks.